I get to educate folks on what's going on. I mean, because the elections community is from ocean to mountains, and we all strive to maintain the integrity of the voting process and to assure everyone that their vote is going to count. And sometimes that gets a little marred in the information that's being sent out from the media and confusing folks with how we do things compared to how Maryland or Pennsylvania or the other states around us do things. So, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys here today.
Well, thank you, Teri. Again, for those who are just tuning in now, because we are now live, I have Teri Smithson here as our guest speaker for the September Hanover Democratic Committee meeting. Normally what we do is we start off with a Pledge of Allegiance, and we were kind of back a little bit on some of this. So what I want to do is go ahead and start with the pledge and then quickly dive into Teri giving us an update on registration, voter registration, and what people can do. So if everybody could please rise and join me. I got the flag behind me, and let's go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And I want to apologize to the people in the audience that have been very frustrated trying to get in. I know people are blowing up my phone trying to get answers. I don't have answers. If you are coming into YouTube live right now, it's a little bit delayed on YouTube, but what I had to do on my end is reboot and just start everything anew. And then people are telling me if you go to our website and then skip through, for some reason the EC meeting link was up there. We're not in the EC meeting link, we're in the HDC meeting link. So look for Teri Smithson, and under that, click the link. The link will take you directly here, and you won't even need to be admitted. You'll just be able to join. So I do apologize, but it's the best I can offer. And we do need to get started. And Teri's given up so much of her time, and I just want to make sure that we get started as best we can. So any of you who are on the call now, if you have some friends are having trouble, if you can share that information through a quick chat or something that says, hey, maybe you need to reboot, and then go to the link underneath Teri Smithson and click the link, and you'll be able to join. Normally we start off a little bit of business, but again, I would, in appreciation of Teri's time, I want to go ahead and start with Teri. Could all people that are on the call please mute so that when I bring up Teri as the main focus, she'll be the focus on the screen. And then after her initial comments, then we'll be open for question and answer. So sorry, it's not the introduction I meant to give you, Teri, but in light of the speed of things, I want to get things started. And so yes, Teri.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think one of the biggest things that people want to know is, is absentee voting safe? And it absolutely is. And, there's been a lot of questions about ballot stuffing, ballot harvesting, and everything like that. And you're not going to see that in Virginia because of the strict regulations that we have around absentee voting. Some of our biggest things that people want to know is, well, when can I start in-person absentee voting? And our county, working with our administration, we've been able to create what we call as the early voting center. And we'll open the early voting center on September the 18th at 8:30. We'll have our electoral board out there on that morning to do a sort of kind of kickoff, ribbon cutting, if you will, to open the early voting center. The difference between no excuse and just early voting is Virginia passed no excuse absentee voting, which in essence, depending upon how you want to name it, is early voting without an excuse. So people will be able to come in. They'll check in just like they would at a polling place on election day. They'll simply show their ID, obtain a ballot, mark that ballot, and insert it into the machine. We've set up our early voting center in the old Commissioner of Revenue, or DMV's office in our Wickham building. This is going to enable us to assist 17 voters at a time. The reason why it's only 17 is because we're going to maintain strict social distancing, and we want to be able to give everybody that freedom to be able to come in and maintain that 6 feet by entering and exiting without any crossover. So we'll be ready to do that. The Wickham building is pretty much where we're just going to take over. You'll see lots of dots and arrows to direct you to able to come in and cast your ballot. That's the voting center. It kicks off on September the 18th at 8:30. We'll run the early voting center all the way to October 31st, and that is the last day to vote in person early. We'll also have our drive-through voting, which is going to be interesting. We're going to be setting up a tent on those 2 Saturdays along County Complex Road, like you're coming into the courthouse off 301. And there you'll see a tent. We'll have the ballot tabulator machine there. We'll have the ADA machine there for people with disabilities to vote independently. But you'll be able to cast your ballot right from your car on those 2 Saturdays. And we'll be open from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. those 2 Saturdays. And keep in mind, October 31st is the last day you'll be able to early vote in the Commonwealth. So we're really excited about that. Also, to assist voters with contactless voting, is we have installed a beautiful official absentee ballot box. It is located in the little back parking lot of the Wickham building. It has red, white, and blue on it. This little kiosk, its slot is only big enough for the ballot to be slid into. So when a voter obtains their absentee ballot at home, they'll be able to mark their ballot. And if they want to take a nice Sunday drive and come up, they'll be able to insert it into that ballot box straight from their car. The ballot box will also have 24-hour surveillance. And this surveillance is going to be monitored by the Sheriff's Department. And we will be watching for any, shenanigans that may occur. We'll be opening and removing the ballots 3 times a day, Monday through Friday, with the assistance of our political observers within my office that are dedicated Democrat or Republican to maintain that chain of custody. So the ballots will be walked in. The last thing is that all of your efforts in the absentee request process, we're seeing them. Tony asked me earlier before we started, have you seen any of our applications come back that we sent out? And yes, we have. I have been tracking the absentee ballot requests across our county, and the Ashland precinct that usually votes at the Ashland Library has the highest percentage of absentee ballot requests in the county right now. Right now, when I left work on Friday, we had over 8,500 absentee ballot requests that we have prepared and ready to go into the mail on September the 18th. One of the calls that we've been getting a lot is that through your efforts in requesting those ballots, is people, they're wanting to know, well, I sent my request in weeks ago. How come I don't have my ballot? Well, the reason why is because we haven't received the ballots yet. We're scheduled to receive the ballots from the printer on Monday. The reason why there was a delay in that, as you well know, Kanye West, there was a lawsuit to have him removed from the ballot. And fortunately for Hanover, we had not started printing ballots yet. So we didn't have to do a reprint. But that's why there's such a delay in us getting the ballots, is through that that lawsuit. So I think that's it in a nutshell. We've been working diligently with administration, with our post office next to us to make sure that all these ballots get out, to have the early voting center opened and prepared by Friday. And so I'll be happy to take any questions.
So yeah, now those of you who are here, please unmute individually and ask your question.
Teri, this is Carolyn. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. This is Carolyn Cook, and I was curious about the last date that people can submit a request for an absentee ballot.
That is a very good question, Carolyn. The last day to submit a request for an absentee ballot to be sent by mail is October the 23rd. The General Assembly had actually passed that into law this last session. Before it had been 7 days, but they found out that, you know, it's really tough to get a request in and get the ballot sent out and then, you know, get it back to us by that election day. So the last day to request, they bumped it to 11 days before the election. That being said, they also passed that the absentee ballots that are received postmarked by November 3rd that show up on November 6th or until noon of that week will also be counted. So that helps voters that did realize that, ooh, I need an absentee ballot. It gives them more of a chance to make sure that ballot's counted. But we always ask people that as soon as they receive their ballot, please don't lay it down. Go ahead and mark it, mail it back, because everybody's going to be receiving a postage paid returned envelope that they can insert their ballot into and put it back into the post office, bring it to our office, or put it in the official drop box. So that, again, it's cutting that time. You know, some people don't, it alleviates the fact of having to go to the store and buy stamps. So we're hoping that those measures help to expedite the absentee ballot process.
Thank you, Teri. I have a follow-up question. Would it be possible for the libraries to have a stack of the absentee ballot applications that they could hand out if somebody wants, and the post offices?
Yes, actually, I think it was through your efforts, Ms. Cook, we were able to get some applications over to the post office. The libraries will absolutely partner with them. Ordinarily, we have voter registration applications as well as absentee applications at the libraries. When they run out, they'll send us a request. And with COVID and everything, I don't think that was top on their priority, but I'll make sure to reach out to the libraries and get those applications to them. The other thing about being in a library is you have the ability to access the online portal at the Department of Elections where you can, excuse me, where you can go online and register to vote as well as request an absentee application or absentee ballot.
Thank you, Teri.
You're welcome.
Teri, I have a question. In the primary, the requirement for a witness signing the mail-in ballot was waived. Is that going to be waived for the general election?
Yes, the lawsuit that was filed against the State Board of Elections, the judge cited on that. It has been waived for this election as well. Within our absentee ballot packages that we'll be sending out, there's new instructions alerting voters that they do not, if they feel that they're not safe to obtain a witness signature, then they can absolutely just sign off on it themselves. And keep in mind, the General Assembly also passed that when an absentee ballot is returned to my office, our process is to verify all the information on that return envelope. It's called a witness statement. It's envelope B that holds your ballot. If there's any information that is missing on that, we're now required to call, email, or send a letter to the voter letting them know that they made an error on this witness statement. And if they don't correct it, it has a possibility of being rejected. So that's going to be implemented. It's called curing the ballot. So we'll be looking at that.
That's huge.
It
That's
is.
a huge burden for you, but also a huge relief for the voter.
Right. Because you would be surprised. Historically in Hanover County, not many ballots that come through absentee are rejected. Remember, the people that work the central absentee precinct represents your party as well as the Republican Party. And they are very methodical in their process in evaluating these witness statements. And it's very obvious that the voter forgot. One example of that was that there was no voter signature, but yet there was a witness signature. That ballot had to be rejected.
Right.
People forget to put their apartment numbers. And the number one rejection that we see across the board are our students that are in college, and they put their college address on that witness statement, or not witness statement, but the voter statement, instead of their voter registration address. And that's frustrating for us. We know it was a simple mistake, but our hands were tied. We could not correct it. So hopefully with these measures in place, we will see a very small percentage that'll be rejected.
Okay, good. And what's the last day to register to vote?
October the 13th. We'll be running an ad in the local and on our website, letting everybody know about that.
And did I hear you correctly that the only drive-by voting is going to be on those 2 Saturdays? I think in the primary, you could drive up and request curbside voting.
Yes, curbside voting. We've actually done a really great job. We've identified what we've done is when you've been to the Wickham building or the courthouse complex, when you pull in off of 301, where there's the turning lane there to go towards the new courthouse, that whole back parking lot of the Wickham building is going to be reserved for voters and customers only. So that parking lot, it's in that parking lot where you'll see the ballot drop box, as well as the curbside voting signs. The curbside voting signs will have a call button as well as a phone number, so that you will not have to get out of your car, and we will come to you and facilitate that. That'll be open the whole time that we're absentee voting.
Okay.
It's just those 2 Saturdays where we know we're going to get an abundance of voters that we want to be able to expediently accommodate them. So, you can get in, get your vote done, and get out. And if we see any signs of issues, then we'll work with the sheriff's department about traffic control. But you guys got to remember, this is the first time that anything like this has been done in the state of Virginia. And so this is the perfect storm of crazy for us, with no excuse absentee voting, COVID on top of all of that. I mean, it's just been, so we're going to have lessons learned. And, I'm sure I'll hear all the bad stuff, about not being helpful, but we're trying.
But the plan that you have laid out is awesome. I mean, so many more options.
Oh, well, we really are trying to do the best. And if we can funnel everyone into that back area, it won't impede business as normal for the rest of the citizens, trying to pay their taxes or CDMV or any of that. So we're hoping that we can confine all of that there, but people are free to park wherever they want to. Come on in, just follow my dots, and you'll be in and out in no time. I think one of the biggest things that we need to make sure that people are aware of is that there's going to be 2 referendums on the ballot. And folks need to be aware of what those are before they get there and then spend 10 minutes in the voting booth trying to figure it out. The referendums aren't that hard to understand. So hopefully people will educate themselves before they get there.
When you talk about, this is Teri Diebold, when you talk about drive-through voting or the tents that you have, is that for people who have an absentee ballot? Or is that for somebody who wants to just come in and vote straight
That
themselves?
is a great question, and I was hoping somebody would ask. The absentee ballot drop off, again, the General Assembly has also required us now that if you mark your ballot and you come to the polling place on election day and you have an absentee ballot in your hand, you have a couple of options. You can actually put it in an official ballot drop box. It'll be a little bag at the precinct. If you show up on any day at our complex, you can absolutely hand that ballot to one of the officials and we'll have it there. So during the early voting, and especially in this drive-through type of scenario on Saturdays, you have the option. And you'll have this option in the polling place too, where if you've requested an absentee ballot, you have that ballot in your hand and it's marked. You can hand it to one of the officials and you're done. If you show up for early voting or at the polls, you can say, here's my ballot. I want to cast a normal ballot and not this absentee. You'll simply surrender that ballot to the official and you'll be provided a brand new ballot that you can insert into the tabulator yourself. Now, if you've requested an absentee ballot, and we totally anticipate this is going to happen on election day, if you request an absentee ballot and you show up at the polls and you don't have your ballot with you, and you're going to say, well, I wanted one, but I didn't want to vote, I want to come in, they're going to make you do a provisional ballot because we have to account for that ballot as opposed to you come and surrendered it. So we're going to see that in the polls. I think our provisional ballot numbers are going to go up simply because of that reason, but that's a great question.
Well, how do you make that provisional ballot count? I mean, what do you have to do to?
Yes, this is so awesome. I hope everybody sees this interview because this is great. Okay, so you come in and you don't have your ballot. You are offered a provisional ballot. When that ballot gets back to us at the office, we'll be able to see in your history, this ballot was never received, the absentee was never received. That provisional ballot's going to count because one vote, one person. Where a red flag would fly is if that ballot came back, you cast a provisional ballot, you've knowingly cast two votes in this election, that's voter fraud. And we'll turn you over to the Commonwealth's attorney for prosecution or investigation. So yeah, that's how the provisional ballot would be counted.
Great.
Hi, Terry. This is Pam Kirby. I just have a few clarification questions that may seem really basic, but so am I correct that if you live in Hanover County, the only place you can go for early voting is the Wickham building?
That is correct. We do not have any satellites because our county complex is so centrally located between Beaver Dam and Black Creek. We wanted to, one, save the citizens their tax dollars, because to implement a satellite location, it would have cost the county probably upwards to $400,000. And in COVID right now, I mean, that would have been too much to ask. And
Yeah, that makes sense. And when you talk about the 2 Saturdays that you can do something.
Drive-through voting?
Drive-through voting. Which 2 Saturdays are you talking about?
It's the last 2 Saturdays that we're open before the election. It'll be October 24th and October 31st. And that's just an option for you. You can still absolutely come in. You can vote curbside, where we'll come out to your parked car. You can come in and vote inside and cast your ballot just like you would at a precinct. There'll be many options on that Saturdays because we're totally anticipating most of the last 2 weeks is where we see the highest number of voters coming in to cast their ballot because they've waited to listen to debates, they've educated themselves, they've looked at everything, and that's when they say, okay, I've made up my mind. And it's usually the last 2 weeks that we see the highest turnout.
Terry, are you short poll workers?
Oh, you're all over this, Terry. Yes, we through the efforts of the Department of Elections, our electoral board, Mr. Barnett had partnered with the Virginia National Guard and their leadership, and they put out a cry for help for officers of elections. Just the media, the local, you know, all of that support. So right now we have 200 and I think 70 officers of elections when I left on Friday, with another 95, I think, being processed through HR. So we've reached our goal in getting enough help, because not only are we going to ramp up and be prepared for our 33 days of early voting, but we're also going to be at presidential levels in staffing in the polls, so that we don't see the hour-long wait times for our voters. We're just going to be prepared for anything.
Terry, I think there's a lot of concern nationwide about when absentee ballots get counted, but my understanding in Virginia is that they get counted when they come in. Is that right?
Yes, the process in Virginia is that because it's a central absentee precinct, it is a precinct. It opens at 6 a.m. right along with all the other polling precincts in the county. And as those ballots are being delivered to them, and they are going through and again qualifying the ballots, that they're doing it precinct by precinct all day, and they're inserting those ballots into the tabulator. People often worry that, you know, well, my ballot's not going to be secret because you're opening it up. Well, the process that we have in place makes it so that it's a blind ballot that we don't open and we don't see. So the central absentee, once that ballot is qualified, it's handed over to another individual, where that individual will slit the envelope, insert it unopened into a retaining box, where once that whole precinct has been processed and in that box, there's no way you're going to know how one individual voted. Then those ballots are inserted into the tabulator. The results are not, or the tabulation isn't done until after the polls at 7 o'clock, or after the polls close at 7 o'clock. Is that tabulator then set into a results type of mode, where it starts spitting out the results tapes so that we can see what the unofficial results are.
But those votes then aren't counted until election day.
That is correct. They're
Okay.
not counted. They're what we call pre-processed. We're actually going to be having, because we have so many ballots coming in or anticipated to come in, we're going to have what's known as pre-processing. And what that does is that will take the same action that they would on election day and then stop before we tabulate the results. No one in the Commonwealth can tabulate results in a central absentee precinct until after 7 o'clock on election day.
And
Terry,
Terry,
oh, go ahead.
just to get the timing right, the early voting center, what hours is it open?
We're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. And then on those 2 Saturdays, we will be open from 9 to 5.
And the ballot box, is that only accessible certain hours or 24/7?
24/7. We'll open it on Friday, September the 18th, and we will not close it until the last ballot is inserted on election night. So if we have a line of cars that's trying to get there to put their ballot into the ballot box, we'll wait until that last car has come through, just like you would at a poll if you were standing in line to be checked in. Once that last ballot is inserted into that box, we'll then lock it.
Terry,
Terry, this is John Hodges. I'm sorry I had a challenge getting in. I hate to make you repeat yourself, but
It's okay.
When, for those that have requested a ballot, when should we expect to see one? An
Ah.
absentee.
That's a good one. So we don't have the ballots in hand right now. We're still waiting from them or waiting for them from the printer. We should get them Monday, and we're going to start stuffing the 8,500 packets that we have prepared already. And we're going to start sending those out as soon as we can get them done. So we'll start sending them out next week. And people should see them. I mean, because really to send a letter from Hanover to a citizen in Ashland takes less than probably 3 days. So you'll see them that following week.
Thank you. That's great. Y'all are doing a great job.
Thank you so much. We try.
Teri, can you talk a little bit about situational awareness? You know, given that there's going to be a frantic election, there's a lot of emotion out there, and you know, just want to make people aware that, you know, to use good common sense.
Well, and Dan brings up a very, very valid point. My office is already receiving some pretty heated and emotional phone calls. But, you know, we're training our officers of elections. The safety risk manager for Hanover County will be talking with them during our trainings about, you know, situational awareness, what to look for in workplace violence type of situations. They need to be aware of it. I would love for the parties to have that same type of training if you guys can get it, simply because more eyes out there watching to see if anything's going to go sideways. We need to know about it. Partnered with the Sheriff's Department, and they've already dedicated resources to us, and we'll be looking at that. But it's important that we all work together to watch for any shenanigans. I always tell my officers of elections that when the spidey senses start to tingle and the hair on your neck starts to stand up, there's something not right. And if you see something, say something. We have to know about it. Your first line of, or I guess your first line would be to 911. Dan will be working with me on election day and alerting me to anything that's going on out there. And I will in turn return that information to Dan and let him know if we're starting to see something going crazy at the polls. So please be aware that there are some Looney Tunes out there, but fortunately for us in Hanover County, we don't get that kind of attention. You know, very rarely do we get anything because most people are very kind. They just want to vote and get out. So.
Will
Are
there
guns
be the,
allowed?
all the, go ahead, Tony.
Are guns allowed at the polls?
Yes, it depends on where they are, Tony. You know, we've been down this road before, and anyone that has, because Virginia's an open carry state, if they know where they're restricted, where they can carry and where they can't carry. For example, if you're in a school and that's where your precinct is, you know they cannot carry. If their precinct is located in a church, as long as there is no fellowship going on at the time of voting, then they can carry. I'm not an expert on concealed carry or open carry, so, you know, I'm just giving you the simple version of what I know, but to be more what legal it is, I would probably reach out to your lawyers or whomever, but it depends on where the precinct is. So
Fire stations?
fire stations are public, so they're open carry there. Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, well, I want to thank you, Teri. I know we might have a couple more questions coming in, but I just want to make sure that people are aware that, you know, we're probably going to run a little over than our normal minutes because we got started late.
Right.
So I apologize for that, but I just wanted to make that clear because this is real important to people, and I appreciate your time, and I know you have other things pressing, but I just want to make sure we get everyone's questions answered and clarified because there's so much confusion out there. I got a text from someone, and I just want to make sure that I ask her question because she was having trouble getting on. And can can people turn in someone else's mail-in ballot?
That's a good question too, because I want to say that the General Assembly also allowed that or passed to allow that. I need to check to make sure. You know, I believe they did. I'm 99% sure, Dan. I'll have to look into that. But in my view, if Dad is taking the family's ballots to the post office, what's the difference in Dad taking the ballots to the drop box? I mean, I always say common sense and the law never mixes. That's why we have lawyers. So, but I'll check into it and get back with you on that one. So.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Teri?
Yes, are all the regular polling places on election day going to be open as they would have been in past elections?
Absolutely, Pam. Every single one of them, all 36 of them out in the county will be open. And that's true for most localities in the Commonwealth. The only time where you see a particular precinct not being open is if it was in a COVID high risk area, such as nursing homes. The city of Richmond.
Polling places on election day going to be open as they would?
You're asking if the precincts are going to be open?
Teri, let me interrupt that for just a second. I'm sorry, because there are some other people who wanted a quick introduction and they have to pop off. Can you hold off on answering that I just want to introduce Theron because he is the new coordinated campaign representative for the coordinated group. And a lot of people want to know Connect the Faith. So Theron, can you hop in and just give a quick introduction and then hop out and then we'll continue with Teri?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Daniel. And thank you, Teri. That super useful info for myself as well, just to be sitting in on this meeting today. So yeah, as Daniel said, my name's Tharoon. I am the new regional field director for the Greater Richmond area with the VA coordinated campaign. So with Biden Harris, Mark Warner, and our congressional candidates. I'm just here today, just a quick 2-minute introduction. Like I said, I'm the new regional field director. I've worked in a variety of different places this election cycle, but I'm making sure I finish out in Virginia and we finish strong. And so I just wanted to quickly introduce myself and say what we're doing. Our big push right now, since we can't really do as much in-person outreach as we normally would, is through phone banking, right? And a big push is to educate people on early voting and absentee voting, the stuff that Teri was just talking about, along with persuading voters that we think might be on the fence. And so right now we're in that persuasion phase, but going into the 19th and 20th, so going to early vote and absentee vote weekend, we're going to start to make that huge push of getting out our supporters to vote, making plans with them and that sort of thing. And phone banking is going to be a huge part of that. And so I just wanted to quickly say that, obviously limited time, and I don't want to take up too much of your time right now, but would love to set something up with your group moving forward in the coming weeks, especially now that we're only about 52 days away from Election Day. And so really maximizing those days, especially in Hanover County, is going to be key. Right now, we can create some targeted lists, but going into get out the vote phase, we're mostly going to be using a statewide dialer program that's going to be calling throughout all our contacts throughout the state, making sure we reach out to them, talking about who they're supporting and talking about their plan to vote, right? So that's going to play a huge part in our phone banking, in our voter outreach, and all of that. So, like I said, would love to set something up with Hanover County, something consistent, possibly at least, maybe sometime soon, or going into the 19th and 20th. But either way, that's that. I'll be in touch with Daniel and the others soon, and we'll hopefully set that up.
Thanks. And I'll share his email. Thank you, Theron. And I'll share his email and contact information with everybody who wants it. So back to Teri, you have the question.
Yeah, Pam.
To Teri, yes.
Pam, did you have the question?
Yes, and I believe you did answer it, that all the regular polls will be open on election day.
Correct. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Terry, I just want to verify that curbside is available for early voting in person the Monday through Friday, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, are there any other questions for Teri?
Yes, Terry, it's Lou. Hi, I joined the meeting late. I had login problems. Have we sent the chairman the do's and don'ts for the election?
I'm waiting to make sure that we have the latest and greatest of those before. I'll be sending those out shortly to the chairs for both parties.
Yeah.
They can probably actually go online right now to the Department of Elections website and probably obtain a copy for themselves, but I always partner with them and let them know what they can do, what they can't do. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I came late. I had login problems too. I tried everything. I'm sort of don't know what happened in the meeting. Can somebody give me like a brief, fast recap of what you were talking about?
Oh, I can knock that out for you quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right. So absentee voting, the last day to request an absentee ballot is going to be October 23rd. The last day to register for this election to register to vote is October the 13th. Our offices will be open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 for early voting. We will have dedicated curbside voting spots located in the back of the Wickham Building's parking lot. We will be open the 2 Saturdays before the election from 9 to 5 for early voting, curbside voting, and drive-through voting. Absentee ballots will be sent out next week, so you can anticipate receiving your absentee ballot and getting it and marking it and mailing it back in. That's the short version.
Okay. Yeah, I had a question with the early voting because I found that it said it was from 8:30 to 5. And I was wondering, how do people that work?
Well, see, and that's what's so awesome about the 2 Saturdays is that if they want to vote in person, they can come in on those 2 Saturdays. That's why we're really going to be ramping up to assist, because what we see is, students come in from college, and they want to come in and vote in person. So that's why the last 2 Saturdays are usually very busy. So we'll be ready to accommodate all of them.
I was about to say, with just 2 Saturdays, is that going to be enough to accommodate everybody?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But yet, this is the first time we've done this. So we will have the best plan we can, and we'll take care of everybody.
Okay. And what about, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to come in early in September.
Absolutely.
It opens up. I don't want to wait. So when is early voting for coming in and vote? When does that start?
It starts next Friday, September the 18th at 8:30.
Okay. We'll see you there.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you, Teri. I feel like you've been very patient with all of us and getting this all set up and organized. I greatly appreciate you and your time. For those of you who are just now tuning in, this has been recorded and is saved, and it is currently being published live on YouTube. And at the end of this meeting, people can go to the Hanover Democratic YouTube channel and watch this meeting from the beginning in case you have any questions going forward.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Dan, and thank you, everybody, for the opportunity.
Teri, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to, educate you guys on what we're doing to accommodate the voting. We're here to assist you in anything. Tony knows, you shoot me an email with a question, I'll shoot it right back at you. I do have 2 things to follow up, and that is with the libraries. Ms. Cook, I will definitely reach out to them, and I will find out that answer to the question, can anybody bring an absentee ballot back and drop it off. So thank you so much, and I'll follow up with you next week.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
Terry.
Thank you.
So carrying on, again, I apologize. We're going to go late a little bit on this. I've noticed around the community, there's been some damages to signs that people have been putting up, and I just want to encourage people not to retaliate, not to do anything that's inappropriate, but to alert me or to alert the committee, or to alert the police of anything any mischief behavior that's going on. Let's just be conscious of our activities. Students and teachers are back in school. Just give out a shout out to all of them and the parents. I know this has been a stressful time for a lot of people. There's a lot of emotions going around, but any support you can give to the tired teachers, parents, and students, that would be great. As Terry mentioned, we have a lot of different ways to vote. One rally that's happening, that's coming up, is there's going to be an early curbside voting rally that Noah Peterson is sponsoring. So Saturday, October 24th, sometime between 8 and 8:30, he wants people to meet at Gandy so that they could then rally at Teri Smithson's office at the Wickham building at 9 a.m. There'll be tents and everything for early curbside voting. And so I just want to make sure that people are aware of that. And let's see, I then wanted to give some campaign updates. Theron is our new coordinated campaign person. Wanted to give him a chance to speak. I don't think Ryan Jackson's on here with the Mark Warner campaign, but I do believe that the new coordinator for us for the Rashid campaign is Josh, or the field director. So if Josh is here, do you want to give a quick update on what's going on?
Yes. Hi. Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, I'm field organizer for Hanover County for CASM's campaign. Real quick, I'm just gonna there's a chat window. I'm popping in my information along with links to sign up for some of the stuff we're doing. It's got my phone number and my email, along with the links to Rashid's site for signing up to take action, along with the Mobilize, Rashid's Mobilize site, where you can sign up for our virtual events there. Basically, just for the recording, for people who can't use the chat window, I'm Josh Anderson. I'm the field organizer for Hanover County for Qasim Rashid. I'm at 571-235-5817, or you can email me at joshidforva.com. Basically right now, yeah, we're mostly just doing virtual stuff. We've got a virtual Zoom meeting 3 times a week called Campaign from Your Couch, which is Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Saturdays at 11 a.m., and Sundays at 1 p.m. And a lot of it's just brainstorming about new ways to spread the word, new ideas. We're still doing plenty of phone banks, plenty of calling to make. We're text banking, though that's on pause for the next couple of days. And we're just trying to come up with new ways. Basically, people in other counties have been doing car rallies. That's interesting. People are still doing postcards, all the usual stuff. We're just trying to come up with new ideas. Because broadband's a real problem in Hanover County, we're also going to try, we haven't locked this down yet, but we're going to try for folks who have bad or non-existent internet, we're going to try to do an outdoor event, socially distanced with masks, where they can meet Qasim and learn more. I'll keep people updated about that. Though we haven't locked that down yet. And I'm trying to think of what else really quick. Basically, I should have more. I'll be finally, I'm still out of state, but I'll be down in Ashland staying with Carolyn and Jerry Pert as of Wednesday. And I should have more signs on Thursday and Friday. So feel free to contact me anytime and nag me about signs. No problem there. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Is Ryan Jackson on the call? Okay, I don't see Ryan. Mail-in vote, Ashley, if you're on, do you want to give an update to the campaign for the vote by mail? All right, well, quick idea for that, guys. Some of you may have seen envelopes going door to door, and it was a application for a mail-in ballot that we as committee members have been hand delivering door to door. We've delivered thousands, and we've had hundreds of people with very positive responses, and we've even gotten some new members from the efforts. So kudos to Ashley and her team on that.
Daniel, could I just add one little quick thing?
Sure.
We had 57 volunteers going to doors and stuff in those envelopes, and that to me is an incredible effort. And we did get out 6,200, more than 6,200 to the doors. And you might explain that because of federal finance laws, we're not allowed to spend more than $1,000 for all the federal candidates combined. And that's why we couldn't mail them. And so we did it the other way. So, yeah.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
I got this in my mail. It says Hanover County Register. And I didn't know if this was legit or not.
Can you
know,
hold it? We can look at that again. I couldn't see it quite. Could you hold that envelope up?
It said Hanover County, I don't know if you can see it. It says Hanover County Registrar.
Yes, that is correct. That is acceptable.
That is acceptable because it came to my house already filled in. And I didn't know if it was ploy or, because it says, it just says Hanover County, so I didn't know if it was legit or not.
There are 4 or 5 groups that are mailing out requests for absentee ballots.
Okay.
Any of those forms reaches the office. And I can tell you after 40 hours last week of organizing, alphabetizing, and filing that we are very alert for anybody who's attempting to put in a duplicate request. That is not getting through. While I have your attention, there's 2 pro tips that I want to offer. When you get your absentee ballot, look at the name that they sent it to. That is the name that you registered to vote under. If it's different, it's not, don't use your initials. Whatever the envelope is addressed to, that's what you sign. Otherwise, it can be rejected.
Yeah.
Second pro tip is for the October 24th rally. Because of the construction over there by the Wickham building, I strongly recommend that people park in the big lot in the center and then cross the street, just walk over to Teri's office. There's not enough parking spots, and we would totally occlude the parking lot and not let voters be able to get in to drop off into the drop box. So that's a request, park in the center. Thank you.
I appreciate that. That's good advice, and we will definitely follow that. Let's see, Jamie can't be here on the school board, but he did leave me some notes. Let me see if I can pull them up, or if Rachel, if you're on and you want to give the update.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so few notes. In terms of recent school board actions and initiatives and issues, the outdoor signage at the former Lee Davis and former Stonewall Jackson have been permanently removed. There's still stuff up on the inside. The new school names were proposed by the committee: Twin Rivers High School and Mechanicsville Middle School. The school board is set to discuss this on September 16th. However, it is the preference of many people that these names be voted on and not just discussed this September 16th and not October. So please contact school board members and advocate that a vote be taken on September 16th to go ahead and change the names. The next meeting is September 16th, as I said. It is in person, but at the Board of Supervisors boardroom. It will be streamed online. If you want to make a comment, you have to send it in if you're not going to be there in person. The school year has started. Liberty Middle School had to stay closed due to several positive COVID tests among teachers and a lot of exposure. About 60% have chosen the face-to-face option and 40% have chosen the virtual option. Elected school board petitions are going to get started again in November. As for the Board of Supervisors, the next meeting is September 23rd. The CARES Act money received was roughly 19 million from federal relief for localities. The bulk went to schools. I would keep an eye on that, on the presentation surrounding that funding, because frankly, some of it seems a little suspect in terms of the amounts being spent on things. I'm not sure how much oversight is happening with that. I'm not going to get into the election procedures because Ms. Smithson already did a great job representing that. And there's been a COVID outbreak, a very serious one at the Pamunkey Regional Jail. 70% of inmates and 20% of staff were infected. There was a press release that went out on September 9th.
Thank you for the update, Rachel. I appreciate it. Diane Neergaard, if you're on, I'm not sure if you were able to get on and talk about the women's coffee. If not, be on the lookout for
I'm on.
an email. Oh, good. Yay.
I just had to unmute myself again. Yes, we will be having a coffee later in the month. I'm going to be giving that information out in a letter to, in an email invitation to all on our coffee list. If you're not on our coffee list and you're at this meeting, please email me at DA.Neergaard, that's NEERGAARD, at Comcast.net, and I'll put you on the list for the email. We had a great time at our last meeting with Kelly Thomason Mercer giving us a very good talk about Mark Warner, and we had a good attendance. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody later this month. Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't know if Don was able to get on, or if Chance is able to get on to talk about the men's forum.
I'm here.
Excellent. Chance, you want to give us an update?
Sure. As an update on that, we will be having a September men's forum after a very successful digital debut in August. We'll be convening on Wednesday, September 22nd, not 22nd, sorry, September 23rd, that Wednesday at 7 p.m. via Zoom, where we will have a couple speakers discussing the pros and cons of the upcoming Virginia Redistricting Commission amendment that will be on the ballot this November.
Thank you, Chance. I appreciate that. We have some new members to vote in. We have Alex White, we have Janet Hoff, we have Shelley Hartley, we have Peggy Wood, Taylor Hartman, and Nancy Pecksock. Do I have a motion to approve them?
Move we approve.
Let's all vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Do we have any new business? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned.